Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's broadcast. Hope you can all hear me. My name is Evan. I will be your commentator for today's qualifying session. It is a pleasure to have you all here on the Racing Statistics YouTube channel. How are we all doing today? I hope we're all doing well. Of course, I wasn't here for pre-practice 3. I was off busying myself. I did some running early today. My legs are a bit sore, but that does not impact my ability to commentate. So, it's good to see you're all doing well. I did watch what happened in free practice 3, so I'm not too far behind the times. I will, for those who may have missed free practice 3, I will briefly go over the results. So I'll go front to back. So Kimi Antonelli's had the fastest time of a 1:29.362, which, for those who are curious, is around the pace of what the pole time was back in 2022. So that's good to see. Then George Russell was a 0.254 seconds off Antonelli, so that's a slightly larger gap than George would probably want to be seeing. I think it was confirmed he had some issue on his fastest lap, so he's probably got a bit more in the bottle. Then Charles Leclerc third, Oscar Piastri fourth, Lewis Hamilton fifth, Lando Norris sixth, Nico Hulkenberg seventh, Max Verstappen eighth, Gabriel Bortoletto ninth, Pierre Gasly 10th, Isaac Hadjar 11th, Liam Lawson 12th, Arvid Lindblad 13th, Esteban Ocon 14th, Oliver Behrman 15th, Alex Albon 16th, Franco Colapinto 17th, Carlos Sainz 18th, Valtteri Bottas 19th, Sergio Perez 20th, Lance Stroll 21st, and Fernando Alonso 22nd. So, I mean, that's about what we expect. Audi were very impressive. I was very impressed by Audi. I mean, really, you look at that session and you'd be inclined to say they were the fourth fastest team out there. So that would be that'd be pretty exciting if Audi were the fourth fastest team for at least this weekend. I'd be here for that. Then notable Behrman, his fastest time was set on the medium, so he's got more than the time he set, which was 2.1 seconds, close to 2.2 seconds off the pace. So he'll be hoping to do better than that. I think Oscar Piastri could sneak a podium finish this weekend. I would love to see him get a podium finish. First Grand Prix start of the season. English. Hopefully. But yes, will be. I imagine he'd get rather excited if he managed to finish on the podium. However, of course, that means he's going to, at minimum, have to beat both Ferraris. And I mean, if either of the two McLarens this weekend are going to do it, I would bet on Oscar doing it over Lando. And that's not a judge against Lando's skill or anything. They're both very capable drivers. Lando is very deserving of his world championship. And should Oscar ever get one, he's very deserving too. They are, they are very close to each other, and Lando has less track time this weekend with, I think, an issue in every single practice session, which is almost impressively bad. So I don't think he'll necessarily quite have it. I have made my own little personal predictions as to who I think's gonna be where in qualifying. I reckon we're gonna get an Antonelli pole position for those who are curious, which would be very, very exciting. Not necessarily by quite as much as he took it in China, or necessarily the gap he had in at the end of FP3, but I think he could manage something. It's good to have you all here. We are 12 minutes. I've just ticked over to 11 minutes out from the pit lane going green. Just saying, oh, which Red Bull's that? That's Hadjar's car. There's still a fair bit of work being done on Hadjar's car, considering that qualifying is nearly 10 minutes away. Now, I'm going to tell you now, I'm going to be, I'm not going to be synced at first with what you guys are seeing on the stream, but I'll try to make sure that I can be as synced as possible. If you do notice any issues with what I'm saying and the sync between that and what you're saying, do tell me. Do call me out for being terribly out of sync, and I'll try to adjust the best I can. Now, speaking of adjusting, that's a really weird transition. Actually, oh, Lando Norris's car is also up on jacks. I don't seem too concerned, but they're definitely working on it. That's not good. Well, in all my wisdom and all my experience as a commentator, I forgot to grab a water bottle. So I do apologize. My mouth is going to be terribly dry by the end of this session if I don't drink any water. So as we build up, I'm going to dip for no more than a minute as I walk to go get some water. I'll be right back. Hello, hello. We are back and with some water this time. Yes, must be the water. I'm so professional. I'm really hitting the big leagues now. For getting my water bottle. Uh, thank you for your patience with me. George Russell takes pole, Kimi second, Leclerc third. Yeah, but that's boring. I want something fun. Give me some fun in your predictions. My predictions are Antonelli on pole, Russell second, Piastri third. Uh, am I yearning? Yeah, a little bit, but still, I can dream. And you said in FP2 that you would like to see each driver have the same car for qualifying. Assuming if that format was in use, who do you think would get the top three positions? Oh, that's a brilliant question. Well, for those who may not have been here for free practice two, I jokingly, whilst I was stuck in an ad break, I said that I reckon what F1 should do is qualifying should happen in the exact same, like everyone has the same car for qualifying, but then they go back to their normal cars for the Grand Prix. So we qualify in driver pace order and then race in car pace, with car pace and of course a bit of driver pace. But yeah, I just thought it'd be funny. But now we've got serious questions, which I'm going to have to seriously answer. Max Verstappen is 100% in that top three somewhere. You just have to say Charles Leclerc would be there too. Legendary qualifier. Oh, I maybe the best qualifier on the grid. Maybe. Okay, I'll get back to me on that one between Charles and Max. I'd probably say Charles is the stronger qualifier. Max has the better race pace, but I'd probably say Charles is the stronger qualifier than Max. If you put him in the same car, I would imagine it'd be close, but I reckon Charles would out qualify Max more across a season. Then looking at the list of drivers, like Fernando Alonso would be way up there compared to where he'll actually likely qualify, which I'm guessing 21st for him. The hard thing is you've got like Isaac Hadjar's pretty good in qualifying. I think he had two Q1 exits all of last season, so he's a pretty strong qualifier. And so it's like, is he some like legendary talent we haven't fully seen the potential of yet? What about Ollie Behrman? And then like we can't just ignore Mr. Saturday George Russell. So if you were to ask me, it's probably a bit boring top three prediction as to who I think the three best qualifiers are on the grid. I would say, in no particular order, Max, Charles, and George. Um, However, it would be way closer. Best qualifier is either Verstappen or Hamilton. Hamilton, is qualifying. Of course, fun fact: Hamilton is aging, as most of us are, and he's on the latter part from in Formula One terms. He's in the latter part of that aging, and generally speaking, that means skills start to wane. And I think Lewis, that has been his qualifying pace. I mean, you look at his Q1 exits last year in a Ferrari. I know the Ferrari was not good last year, but it wasn't that bad. Um, so yeah, that's my opinion. I think Charles. in yeah. I mean, I think how much better Charles has out qualified. Lewis pretty clearly indicates that at this stage, Charles is the better qualifier. And I know Prime Hamilton was damn good over one lap, but at this stage, he doesn't quite have it. I like delaying their PU is kind of a big brain move. No, I think that's a good idea because they were always going to be on the back foot this season, and the last thing they need to do was make it any worse. I mean, I say that, but Audi were where were they? They were P7 and P9? Yeah, P7 and P9 in FP3. So clearly it worked. I think Audi have like it's weird to say, but they've almost gone unnoticed. You'd think a new team on the grid would be talked about a bit more. But I think like at some point in this season, I think there's a possibility we will look back on this season and go, damn, Audi were like really good for a new team. Um, like I'm getting Haas vibes in terms of their debut performance, but are almost better than Haas, I would say. Who's looking strongest? Mercedes. Who do I think's getting pole? Andrea Kimi Antonelli. That is my prediction. I'm going to lock it in. And that would mean that every single driver I've commentated taking pole position was born in the 21st century because I commentated China qualifying last year where Oscar took pole. And I commentated China qualifying this year where Kimi took pole. And if Kimi takes pole today, that streak continues. The only person who could possibly break that is Mr. I think 1998 born George Russell. We are very close. Start of this qualifying session. We are 4 minutes out. I'm getting bored of seeing both Mercedes 1 and 2 every time. I think I'm going to be honest, I'm a little bit too. As long as they can keep it interesting. Is the F1 site down? It's working for me. Might just be you. I do apologize if it is. I think we all hope that Cadillac would have a 2009 Braun GP type run. Unfortunately, nothing like that so far. I think we'll be lucky to ever see a Braun GP happen again. Like that was such a unique occurrence. And ironically, they honestly not even it's not even the first time that's actually happened. Like you look back at the 60s with Matra when they arrived, and Tyrrell too to an extent. But yeah, I don't think we're necessarily going to be seeing another Braun GP. Like, I mean, you think about that. Before Braun GP, the last time a team just rocked up and dominated was back in the 60s. So currently, at this rate, we're going to have to wait till the 60s again because it seems to be every half century you have a team just dominate for no particular reason, even though they're a new team. Well, we saw a red light at the end of the pit lane, but it is very soon going to become green. We do not have any cars in the pit lane yet. Who do I think will be F1 World Champion? You've got to bet on George Russell. You'd be a bit stupid not to. However, I wouldn't call you stupid for betting on Antonelli at this stage, at least. F1 TV is okay so far. Good to see. Just seeing no one's in the pit lane yet. We're 2 minutes out, so I imagine we'll start to see people peeling out and getting ready to go. And of course, the exciting thing about this weekend is that if Antonelli does beat Russell to the race win, Antonelli will take the lead in the championship, which don't quote me on it, but I think it'll make him the youngest championship leader age-wise, because I think the record is currently maybe possibly held by Sebastian Vettel. I think so. If someone can correct me if they know off the top of their head what the stat for that is, because it wouldn't be Verstappen because he was unk when he he finally led the championship in 2021. Best of luck, driver fans. I hope your driver wins. I wish that for everyone, but I fear that the Fernando Alonso fans, I've got some bad news. Antonelli will be on pole position. I know, that's what I said. I'm kidding. I'm not mocking you. It's a pleasure. I have you all here. As you see, we've just hit 100 likes. Thank you all so much. As I see, the cars are now lined up at the end of the pit lane. Predictions for the race, McLaren double DNF. Whose idea was that? We're not doing that. Double DNF for McLaren? Let's not do that. That's a terrible idea. Okay, let's sync these streams up. Because for those curious as to how this works on my end, I've got a live TV broadcast, which I watch and I commentate from that. And then I have to sync that up with the YouTube stream. So that's what I'm doing now. I have to wait until there are cars on track, however. Otherwise, I don't really have a way of knowing who's out on track. So I dropped the sandbags. I think you'll find Mercedes were 8/10 up the road from the closest car. I would probably say good. Thank you for those who are telling me cars are coming out. I can see them coming out on track before you can. Do not stress. I can see that happening. I'm gonna pause it as he enters the first Degner for me. Okay. Should be all good. And unpause there, and that should be remotely synced for you all. If it is not synced whatsoever, yell at me, and I will do my best to fix it. But in the meantime, let's get excited for a qualifying session. My predictions for who will be out in qualifying one, I'm going with Carlos Sainz, Franco Colapinto, Valtteri Bottas, Sergio Perez, Fernando Alonso, and Lance Stroll. But then again, that's trusting everyone's cars turn on and we don't see like a front runner qualifying P22. They couldn't turn the car on. And that's also trusting that Aston Martin doesn't beat them to it and not turn their car on. Just having a look here. I'm going to start describing what I'm seeing. So Lawson is coming through the 130R corner and is now going into the Casio triangle. He's snaking his way through the final corner now and will cross the line to start the first timed lap of this qualifying session. Hopefully that sounds remotely accurate to what what you guys are seeing. If it's not, yell at me. I'll fix it. Now, something I probably should have mentioned before qualifying started. Qualifying has been changed a little bit from the Chinese Grand Prix to the Japanese Grand Prix. So the amount of power that the cars have, or the amount of battery that the cars have access to across a lap has been decreased from 9 megajoules, I think megajoules, either megajoules or kilojoules, but I think it's megajoules, 9 megajoules to 8 megajoules. And the reason they want to do that is to make qualifying about driver skill again. New here, there is no footage from track. I mean, there is, but you have to pay money. And for those who are not interested in paying money but want to know what's happening in the sport, that's what this is why you come here, and you can watch, or you can hear and watch the little dots go around on our colorful track, in for a live feed. Yep, megajoules. Thank you for the confirmation question. I was fairly certain, but I'd been energy. So I did chemistry, so it's not like I don't know how like energy works, but it's dumb. It's really dumb. If anyone's done any level of science, I'm sure they would agree. So I think that might have been double push. I'm not being shown. They're not showing the timing board for the for the session the stream I'm watching. So I'm going to try to get my own up. Megajew. Oh, I'm not going to say that one. They're saying Oscar's out on track. I trust Lando is all good. Just looking here. Goodness me, this is rather annoying. Too bad they hate me and refuse to show things. Ocon currently has the fastest time. There we go. All good now with 131.466, which I think from memory that's around Lando's FP FP3 times, if you're looking for a perspective. So, I mean, not terrible for the Haas. Uh, However, they'll be wanting to improve a bit. There we go. I've got live timings. I can give you all accurate values as Albon jumps up to third in the Williams. Williams are looking quietly good. They're a lot better. They're not, I wouldn't quite say they're third slowest team. I don't actually know who the third slowest team is. I'd probably say third slowest team. I mean, honestly, it might still be Williams. I don't know. Get back to you on that one. As Piastri crosses the line to start his lap, the first of the front runners. Let's see what Oscar's first sector time is. So we're looking for something in at least the low 32s for his first sector. That would be a good first sector for Piastri. Yes, he nails that. Oh no, mid 32s. A 32. I can't see that time. They didn't show it to me. A 32.5. And Norris doesn't quite beat Piastri through the first sector, but it's practically nip and tuck. What is the purple tire? Never seen it recently. There's no purple tire in Formula One anymore. If you're seeing images somewhere of a purple tire, it might be old photos of Formula One. Back when we had super soft tires. It's all. Who's taken that purple first sector? Lewis Hamilton has taken that purple first sector from Oscar Piastri, as Piastri also, unsurprisingly, goes purple through the first sector. Or second sector, sorry. Now a second up on Esteban Ocon's time. So that's not too shabby. Norris 3/10 down on his teammate by the end of the second sector. Oscar Piastri to the line. Beats Ocon's time with a 1:33.438, about a second up. What can Lando Norris do? Lewis Hamilton's lost his purple first sector to Charles Leclerc now. Lando Norris across the line, 2/10 off his teammate. Hamilton now down on Piastri by the end of the second sector. Lewis was strong through the second sector before then. Hulkenberg jumps up to third, only 4/10 off the McLarens. What a goat. Lewis Hamilton towards the line now. We'll see Charles Leclerc's second sector time in a minute. Lewis Hamilton jumps up to second, splitting the McLaren drivers about 2/10 off Oscar Piastri. Speaking of 2/10, Leclerc's about 2/10 up on Oscar Piastri. As Bortoleto then jumps up to fourth, less than a tenth off Lando Norris's time. That is brilliant from the two Audis. Charles Leclerc across the line goes fastest by 0.360 seconds with a 1:30.078. Dare I say the Mercedes are probably going to beat that by a little bit. Yeah, wow. What are those Audis up to? Bortoleto less than a tenth off Norris, and Hulkenberg only really 2/10 off as Verstappen then jumps up to fifth. Just about a half a tenth off Lando Norris's time as Hadjar jumps Norris. What a lap from Isaac Hadjar early on in this session, Red Bull desperately trying to hang on to that position as the fourth fastest team as Gasly now jumps up to eighth place, splitting the two Audi teammates. Let's see Antonelli's first sector time. He is down on Charles Leclerc's time through the first sector. He's going to want to try to pick up that pace, considering that's where Mercedes have been strongest, as Colapinto now jumps up to 10th, just behind, a decent mile behind Hulkenberg, but comfortably ahead of Esteban Ocon. Russell's first sector time down on Antonelli massively. Oh, wait, no, sorry. It's a different reference time. My apologies. We'll see what Antonelli can do when he reaches the end of the second sector. Andrea Kimi Antonelli. A purple middle sector. That's more like it for the Italian driver. He'll be hoping to keep that up as he goes across the line. Mercedes has been half decent through the final sector. Russell's been struggling a bit, though. Antonelli towards the line. Goes fastest by only 0.043 seconds. It's a very tight margin out front currently. Antonelli will be... Yeah, Antonelli just went slower than he did in FP3. So he'll be wanting to change that. George Russell will be next across the line. George Russell to the line. He only good enough for fifth. 6 tenths off his teammate. Sorry, that's massive. Norris is improving, Sainz is improving, and Hulkenberg are all improving on their laps. Ocon jumps Colapinto for 14th. Still miles off the pace, but that doesn't seem to quite have the pace it necessarily had in China. See what Lando Norris' second sector time looks like compared to Antonelli. Behrman jumps to 15th, but Norris at the end of the second sector, 2 tenths off Antonelli. That's pretty good. He'll want to keep that momentum up as he exits the final sector. Sainz currently not improving by enough to beat Colapinto. Hulkenberg only 6 tenths down on Antonelli by the end of the second sector. That's strong by the Audi. Lando Norris to the line, jumps up only to fourth, 0.366 tenths off. Sainz only jumps up to 17th. He's going to want to do more than that. Nico Hulkenberg to the line, jumps up to fifth with a purple last sector, a 1:30.542 for the German Audi driver. That is what we like to see. As he strolls on a lap, dare I say, won't be challenging Q2. Radio from George Russell. Russell's saying that something doesn't feel right on the car. Saying that he's getting a lot of oversteer, which would explain his sudden lack of any pace. Apologies for anyone who bet on the fact that George Russell would take pole position. That doesn't seem quite as likely anymore. I knew Hulkenberg would get top 5. I would love to see Hulkenberg get top 5. Yo, is it Q3? Not yet. Put down Oscar. I promise you he is. The cars just lose speed in straight lines. That just happens. As we see, Lewis Hamilton is about to set a first sector time. What can he do through the first sector? Hamilton, purple first sector, 0.075 seconds up on Antonelli. That is really strong from Lewis through the first sector. Again, the sector where Mercedes had been dominant earlier. As Leclerc goes even faster now, a 10th up on Antonelli through the first sector. Can they carry it through the rest of the lap, or will they lose time to the Mercedes? Let's see. Looking down the order, it's currently 2 by 2 in the bottom 6. As it is now 6 with 22 cars on the grid. We have 6 go out in Q1, 6 go out in Q2, so it's still the top 10 in Q3. Lewis Hamilton's Sector 2 time, what does it look like? He's getting a tow from Gabriel Bortoleto. He's 3 tenths off Antonelli now. Didn't improve through the second sector. How about Charles Leclerc? What can he do through the second sector? Another purple sector now, 2 tenths up on Antonelli. Can he carry it through the third and final sector? Lewis Hamilton now to the line, jumps up to third fastest. 3 tenths off the pace set by Andrea Kimi Antonelli. But how about this? Charles Leclerc absolutely flying right now. What lap time can he do? He takes, not pole position, but he jumps into the 129s with a 129.915.12 seconds up on the Mercedes of Andrea Kimi Antonelli. Most cars are now, of course, in the pits as they quick tire change and get ready for their second runs. Just seeing here the results from the predictions as to who will get pole positions. We have 1.2 thousand people voting. Thank you so much for all those who put your opinions out there. Antonelli, 35%. George Russell, 30%. The Ferraris, 26%. And the McLarens, 9%. I'd say that's fair enough. Merc sandbagging, I don't think Merc are going to be sandbagged. Russell said he's got problems, and Leclerc just set his lap time way later than Antonelli, and the gap's not that big. So I could see that being the case. Antonelli's still way off his FP3 time. He's got 7 tenths, I think, to make up to catch his FP3 time. So definitely still has more in the bag. But I would imagine a lot of people do. Is this the usual case of engines being turned down in the early stages of qualifying? Not really. I mean, the back marker teams definitely won't be. They'll have their engines up to 100. And then if you're a midfielder team, you don't want to risk it, so usually you'll do that. Runners sometimes might not have it at 100%. We might see a little bit more of that because of the fact that the engines are so unreliable and they don't want to push it if they don't have to. So that might be a bit more prevalent. But generally speaking, it's not the case. I see Russell's now working his way out of the pit lane to start another lap, as Verstappen is also getting underway for another lap. He's currently P9. I imagine he'll want to improve on that, at least when it comes to the next two sessions of qualifying. Yes, currently Verstappen, Hadjar, and Russell are all on laps right now. P7, P8, P9, respectively. So they'll all be wanting to try to improve. Verstappen 3/10 off Charles Leclerc through the first sector. How about Isaac Hadjar? What first sector time can Isaac Hadjar do? Currently ahead of his teammate. Hadjar 4/10 down. So only a tenth between the two Red Bulls through the first sector. Not too shabby. What about George Russell's first sector? About 2/10 rounding off the first sector time of Charles Leclerc. So it's closer, but it's not quite what the Mercedes of George Russell would necessarily be expecting at this stage of qualifying. As Verstappen approaches the second sector marker, what's it looking like through there? 7/10 down on the Ferrari, so that's not what he'd necessarily wanting to be seeing as he comes towards the line. Hadjar a second down. He had a yellow middle sector. Verstappen towards the line as Russell sets a purple second sector. Improves a lot in relation. Jumps up to sixth. Hadjar towards the line now. If needs be, he could probably get another lap in. 9/10 off, stays ninth. George Russell to the line. Up to second. 0.052 seconds off Charles Leclerc. So not great from George. I would expect he'd have wanted a bit more. Doesn't look like the old top three are going for any more laps, as I would imagine they probably don't have to. Hadjar probably a little bit concerned after not improving on his second run, considering I would imagine most others will. But yes, everyone who's currently in the pits, so Leclerc, Antonelli, and Hamilton will not be going again, which is good. That's a set of tyres saved, which they will all want. The Albon trying to fight his way into Q2 would be big for him. Albon, he's doing what he needs to do through the first sector, but of course, I would imagine Colapinto, who's currently on an outlap, will be wanting to improve too, who's just on the edge of that drop zone. Just looking across everyone's times, most people are improving. Ocon jumps up to 12th, exactly a second off Charles Leclerc's time. Will that be enough? I would like to think so, but alas, we won't know until the final times fall. Alex Albon going through Spoon Curve now. Sergio Perez only good enough for 19th. So Sergio Perez will be out. As we now have 10 seconds left on the clock. Carlos Sainz jumps up to 13th. Why weren't we watching his lap? Excuse me. Albon's now not improving enough to get out of the drop zone. Lindblad jumps up to 12th. We watch Alex Albon here towards the line. He's going to have to do something big in this final sector. Alex Albon. He does it. He's jumped up to 16th. Behrman and Colapinto are currently in the drop zone. Lawson towards the line. Hadjar stays 9th. Didn't improve on his lap. Lawson jumps up to 9th. Drops Hadjar down to 10th. That should be good for him. Fernando Alonso, I would imagine, probably not improving enough. Bortoletto's looking savvy through the second sector. He'll want to keep that up. Alonso only good enough to jump his teammate at P21. Nico Hulkenberg towards the line. He jumps up to 6th. Doesn't really matter for him. He's not under too much threat. Gabriel Bortoletto to the line. He jumps up to 7th, just behind his teammate. That's respectable. Both Aston Martin's real shocker out. Valtteri Bottas is improving. We'll see if it's by enough at the end of the second sector in relation to Albon. No, second down. Gasly jumps up to 10th. And Oscar Piastri here, purple through the second sector. He's improving overall. Behrman, Colapinto, and Perez are going to want to improve. Colapinto does. He just sneaks out of the drop zone. How about Ollie Behrman, though? He's going to want to get a wriggle on if he hasn't already. Valtteri Bottas to the line does not improve. He stays 20th. Sergio Perez has out-qualified him. Piastri jumps Hamilton for 4th. Not the worry, though. Ollie Behrman still down in 18th. What's he doing? Just waiting to see. The TV cameras aren't showing me damn well anything. It looks like he's backed off. Behrman's backed off. Behrman's out. Behrman's out in 18th. No, that's massive. That's absolutely massive. Something must have gone wrong there. He's just peeled into the pits, but without even completing the lap. Oliver Behrman, adjusting his signs, Hadjar impeding noted. Speaking of signs, he's made it through, which is very impressive. So yes, Behrman out in Q1, which is terrible, terrible news for Behrman. I believe he was on a lap, and I'm imagining something's just gone wrong. So our bottom 6 are Alex Albon, Oliver Behrman, Sergio Perez, Valtteri Bottas, Fernando Alonso, and Lance Stroll. Of the kind of Japan teams, 3 of the 4 drivers are out in Q1. So that's not good. That's very bad for us, who of course were hoping to possibly score double points in front of what is kind of their second home crowd, being of course sponsored by Toyota Gazoo Racing. Yeah, that's a massive old knock. I mean, really, Audi just out there reconfirming the pace that we already thought they had. Where they were 6th and 7th. Don't make the joke. There's no need. Unnecessary. Just looking Behrman there, he was on a new set of tires. Okay. Wow. That's rough. That's really rough. Forgot to ask you, how was the charity event today? It was great. I think we'd raised I want to say 170,000 so far. It's still going. I stopped to come do this. But yeah, I completed 50 laps of a standard athletics court size thing. So my legs are a bit tired, but my voice is still kicking. I didn't do much talking. So Hulkenberg and Bortoletto have out-qualified a McLaren, or so far, not by much. They're comfortably ahead of the 2 Red Bulls, the 2 Alpine, the 2 Racing Bulls, the 2 Haas, the 2 Williams, the 2 Cadillacs, and the 2 Aston Martins. That would lead me to believe that Audi are the fastest team, which is insane. This is their 3rd weekend in Formula One, and Audi are genuinely the 3rd fastest team on the grid. Oh, sorry, 4th fastest team on the grid. It would take a miracle, I think, for them to become the 4th fastest team. Yeah, I mean, I know they were only just ahead of Norris, but Norris did another lap. It's not like Norris wasn't out there and didn't do another run. Seeing here. Something comes. So I was just reading a radio message from Alex Albon. Bit concerning that he was basically saying that he's concerned that the why is chat spamming 6-7? Because that's where Audi were at the end of Q1. They were 6th and 7th. With Hulkenberg in 6th and Bortoletto in 7th, only separated by 1,000th of a second. I would like to point out. Considering Hulkenberg is often considered a qualifying specialist, I think we're slowly finding out that Gabriel Bortoletto is a very strong qualifier. Okay, we can stop saying, oh, we can stop it now, guys. I'm not yeah, redact the messages, delete them all, delete all the 6-7 messages. We don't need that. We are more mature than this, people. I believe in you all. I don't really, that's a lie. I'm lying to you all, goodness me. Hamilton 3/10 of Hamilton 3/10 off. I've got bad news, it was closer to 4/10. Yeah. I mean, 4 tenths, like, on paper, isn't normally that bad. It's just the fact that that's the difference between first and fifth, and you've got Russell, Antonelli, and Piastri who've wiggled their way in between those two. 300 likes. Thank you so much, everyone. What do we can? Just seeing an interesting shot of Charles Leclerc sat in the um sat in his car with his eyes shut. I think like imagining the track. Now, so basically what he was doing, he was just sat there with his eyes shut and was turning the steering wheel like he was doing a lap. If you kind of like cut a shot of that over an actual onboard, I would probably believe you. That's I mean, whatever works for Charles, I guess. Um Ferrari Macarena wing. We do not have a Ferrari Macarena wing this weekend. I'm hopefully by the end of the season I'll be a little bit better at saying that. In the zone, I mean, I act like I don't sit here when I'm on the sim and imagine driving whilst I'm sat in loading screens. So now my predictions for out in Q2. I've got to adjust them a bit to remember who's actually in this session. Franco Colapinto, yes. Franco Colapinto, Carlos Sainz, Arvid Lindblad, Esteban Ocon, Isaac Hadjar, uh, goodness me, and Pierre Gasly. Those are my predictions. Or out in Q2. What do you think AMR 26 is cooked or gonna make a comeback in Miami Grand Prix? I don't think it'll be as early as Miami if they do make a comeback. That's my opinion. Miami, it's a month, guys. It's not gonna be that big of a change. At most, they might be able to fight Williams, which I mean would be a big improvement. Um, just seeing Antonelli has begun his lap. First lap of Q2. We'll see what sort of first sector time he can post. He'll hope it's relatively competitive. And Russell will be next, I believe, across the line of the timed laps. So that will be interesting to see how that goes. Antonelli through the first sector now. Up Dunlop curve he goes. Purple first sector, pretty obvious. A 32.3. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I think at least. Russell 32.4. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a good first sector from Andrea Kimi Antonelli. We'll see what Lewis Hamilton's first sector time is. The Ferraris were fast through the first sector today. His first sector time, a 132.1. Lewis Hamilton is determined through this first sector to make up for that gap he had in Q1 to his teammate. As Antonelli exits Spoon Curve and approaches the end of the second sector. What's the time looking like? Not shabby at 12.1 overall. How's George Russell looking in comparison? He's still 2 tenths off. That's not good news. Then Antonelli comes to the line at 29.7. That's very fast. That is very, very fast. Hamilton about on the pace of Russell by the end of the second sector. George Russell across the line, 3 tenths off with a 130.117. Charles Leclerc is just up on Antonelli. Lewis Hamilton approaching the line now. He used too much tyre through that first sector. It would appear so. Once again, a thousandth of George Russell's time. So that's not too shabby from the Ferrari driver. Charles Leclerc across the line now. 0.011 seconds off the time set by Andrea Kimi Antonelli. That's not too bad. Max Verstappen now across the line. Verstappen fifth, 6 tenths off the pace. Isaac Hadjar will be next across the line to set a timed lap. Not looking too shabby for him. Neat and tidy through Casio. And he beats Verstappen, goes up to fifth, a 133.39. Looking further down the order, Russell saying he's still struggling with the rear end. I couldn't tell you. 3 tenths off. of a Lindblad to the end of the second sector. What's it looking like? 8/10 off. I mean, kind of what we'd expected, but still not too shabby. Nico Hulkenberg, on the other hand, I'm a bit more interested in this one. How's he going to look at the end of the second sector? 7/10 off. Okay, not quite the pace that they had in relation to the front runners in Q1. Lindblad jumps up to 7th, 9/10 off the pace with a 1:36.94. Nico Hulkenberg will be next across the line. What can Nico Hulkenberg do? Purple last sector jumps Lindblad to 7th, 6/10 off the pace. Not bad at all from him. Oscar Piastri, purple sector 1. Hello, Oscar. Welcome to Q2. Gabriel Bortoletto now will be towards the line. Lawson's jumped up to 9th. Bortoletto P3. Bortoletto 3/10 off the pace. What is Gabby doing? Give George's Mercedes back. What? Okay, wow. That's an insane lap. Gabriel Bortoletto 3/10 off the pace of a Mercedes. What is he doing out there? Colapinto jumps up to 10th. As we see Oscar Piastri's second sector time still purple. Oscar Piastri's flying out there. Lando Norris also not looking shabby. Gasly jumps up to 6th. That's a brilliant lap from him. Oscar Piastri through the Casio triangle. It's all very neat and tidy for him. It's Norris's second sector, not as good as Piastri's, but still up on Antonelli. Oscar Piastri across the line, 3/10. Ladies and gentlemen, Oscar Piastri, a 1:29.4. This is much closer to what we were expecting. Lando Norris towards the line. What can he do to try to get at least close to his teammate? He's 4th, 3/10 off. Barely ahead. No, so not barely ahead. Barely behind Charles Leclerc. So currently, Oscar Piastri, P1, Antonelli 2nd, Leclerc 3rd, Norris 4th. Gabriel Bortoletto, P5. What on earth? That's a mega lap. But Oscar, 3/10 up. The 9% who put a McLaren on pole position are currently jumping for joy right now. And I can't blame you. That's this year's sophomore takeover is crazy. Oh, I'm here for the sophomore takeover. Just having a look at George Russell through the Casio triangle. Oh, nasty slides, nasty slides, and through the final corner too, having a lot of snaps. That's probably explaining why he's struggling with pace compared to his teammate. But now he's just struggling with pace compared to the GOAT, Oscar Piastri. Is he going to beat Verstappen in quali? I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible. I mean, Hulkenberg will be hoping to take a spot in that top 10. And currently, the driver he would have to get past is Max Verstappen. A McLaren back again as long as they can start the race tomorrow. I would say they're back, at least to being front running form. What happened to Behrman? He went out in Q1. I think something went wrong in his final lap. Don't quote me on it, though. In comparison between Russell and Antonelli, Antonelli's just dominant through the first sector. Russell's winning out through Spoon and the run through 130R and the run between them. But yeah, Antonelli. So Antonelli is 3/10 off. Russell is like 6/10 off. That's pretty off. And of course, who should they be off? But my GOAT, Oscar Piastri. Lando, who? I'm kidding. That's a joke. Lando is a brilliant driver. He's just been severely compromised this weekend. However, I would like to point out the head-to-head qualifying between the two in Grand Prix format between them is 1-0, also 2-0, Oscar Piastri. And currently it looks to stay, or it looks to improve to 3-0. As I was saying here, Lewis Hamilton rolling his way out of the pits. Of course, Lewis Hamilton was the first driver to set a lap time of the front runners. So it's not surprising that he's kind of dropped to the back as the tracks continue to improve. Piastri is the GOAT. I'm the biggest Piastri glazer. Or you're right, challenged by me on that one. I'm a pretty big Piastri glazer sometimes. Especially when he was winning it all last year and then he stopped doing it. And then that made me very sad. But what is making me very happy is watching George Russell up to the line at the end of the first sector. Not up on Piastri through the first sector, but not far off. So this is a far more respectable lap from George Russell. He's currently at P6, pole sitter from Australia, and realistically should have been on pole in China had he not had car issues. I mean, currently he's sat behind an Audi, so I think he'll at least improve by one spot. No shade to Bortoleto, but I think Mercedes is fast enough to beat an Audi. Is a multiple user in this channel? It should just be me, I think. Is it raining? No, it's not. Piastri's time is still holding up compared to Russell's second sector, 0.06 seconds off. So it's not massive, but Russell struggled through Casio and the run to the line a fair bit this weekend. We'll see what George Russell does. Improves, yeah, exactly. He lost 0.3 of a second, basically, in the final sector to Oscar Piastri. Jumps his teammate, but only just. So, sandbags. I don't know what you guys are on about sandbagging. God forbid that the other teams are actually just catching Mercedes. God forbid that happens. As Lewis Hamilton has now gone underway with his lap, currently P7. He's going to want to improve from that one. Charles Leclerc is also underway for his lap. We'll see Lewis Hamilton's first sector time pop up in just a minute. At the end of the first sector, not a personal best, but only 200, sorry, down on Oscar Piastri. As Charles Leclerc goes 0.3 up on Oscar Piastri in the first sector. What a first sector from Charles Leclerc. That is insane. A 31.778 for the first sector. That's blistering pace. Lewis Hamilton now working his way through Spoon Curve. All looks neat and tidy so far. Got 3 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. Lewis Hamilton now getting ready to see what his second sector time's looking like. Hopefully he'll improve. He is now 0.3 down on Oscar Piastri's time. Personal best, but not quite enough. How about Charles Leclerc, ladies and gentlemen? What does his second sector look like? He's lost time to Oscar Piastri. 0.2 is now the gap, but I imagine he should be able to do it. Lewis Hamilton towards the line only jumps Bortoleto to 6th. That's not what Lewis Hamilton was wanting to see. He should be right. Charles Leclerc towards the line now, and it does beat Piastri with a 1:29.303. Russell is severely concerned now. I think we're basically saying that he's concerned that we're really losing pace here and that something has to be done. Verstappen is now getting on his way for qualifying to try to make it into Q3, which currently I wouldn't bet on it because we've got a fast charging Nico Hulkenberg in the bottom 6, sorry, who's going to want to make it through. Don't worry about Oscar. Oscar's got another lap. He's currently second, so I think he'll be fine. Max Verstappen's first sector time. Let's see what it is. 0.5 off of Charles Leclerc. That's, I mean, it's a personal best, so he's improving. But will it be by enough in comparison to a driver like Nico Hulkenberg, Esteban Ocon, drivers who could upset Max's day? Of course, he'll also want to try to beat his teammate. That would be optimal. His teammate currently 300th ahead of him in P9. Norris not improving through the first sector. Piastri not improving either, 0.6 down on Leclerc. So Norris and Piastri, I would have to imagine those aren't push laps. That's a pretty serious gap. Verstappen now 0.9, still improving by the end of the second sector. Red Bull's, or Max at least, is pretty good through the final sector. So let's see what Max can do. Jumping over the first curve, then the second curve of the Casio Triangle. Down to the line, Max comes. Jumps only Hadjar to 9th. That might not be good enough. Lando's not improving in the second sector. How about Hadjar jumps Gasly to go P8. Piastri really not improving, but he doesn't have anything to be concerned about. Norris should be fine too. Gasly's now also improving. Hadjar is currently ahead of his teammate. Verstappen is in the drop zone. If any of those bottom 6 improve enough, they will jump Verstappen. As we're seeing, Piastri doesn't improve. Hulkenberg's improving. He's green through the first sector. Or it's nip and tuck between Hulkenberg and Verstappen. Ocon jumps up to 11th. It wasn't quite enough. Gasly towards the line now, currently in P9. Gasly jumps up to 5th with a purple last sector. Can Nico Hulkenberg get through into his first Q3 since 2016 here? Oh, not quite. Only a 10th between himself and Verstappen, stays in P12. Colapinto jumps up to 13th, not enough for him. Gabriel Bortoletto still P8. He should be good. He crosses the line. Purple last sector still stays P8. Arvid Lindblad, green first sector, green sector 1 and sector 2. Towards the lines it comes. Will it be enough? It is! Arvid Lindblad has just knocked Max Verstappen out of Q3. Ladies and gentlemen, Max Verstappen will be starting P11. That is crazy. Carlos Sainz crosses the line, doesn't improve. He'll be staying P16. Antonelli's currently flying out there, purple middle sector. But how about that? Max Verstappen's out. Lawson jumps up to 14th. Lewis Hamilton's improving, but he shouldn't have anything to be concerned about. Our drop zone is practically confirmed. Andrea Kimi Antonelli towards the line now. He goes fastest with a 129.048. Lewis Hamilton now towards the line. He jumps up to 4th fastest with a 129.589. Max Verstappen has entered the pit lane. Max Verstappen is out in Q2 and has not outqualified his teammate. Verstappen, I think there's something wrong with the car, mate. It's completely undrivable suddenly in this qualifying. Jumping on high speed in the rear suddenly. So confirming basically that that the car is not handling well at all. Looking across everyone else, no one else is really doing anything crazy. So out in Q2, Max Verstappen, Esteban Ocon, Nico Hulkenberg, Liam Lawson, Franco Colapinto, and Carlos Sainz. That is not what I was expecting. For anyone who's done some certain things in their bingo card predictions, you might want to go get ready to adjust them because a Verstappen podium probably is not happening anymore. Honestly, I don't think it was on the cards at all. But to everyone who was saying that Isaac Hadjar would never outqualify Max Verstappen on pace, go suck it. Isaac Hadjar is my GOAT. And for once, my F1 fantasy team might not be cooked. I do have Ollie Behrman on that team, so I'm a little bit cooked. But hopefully he can just have a rocketing start like the Ferrari engine cars usually do and will be in the points by turn 1. That's the hope, at least. Max has the best car on Nürburgring. Have you ever heard balance of power? Oh, balance of performance, sorry. Balance of performance. It's been a long day. They are all the same. Max's car was the same as everyone else's. Like, he was in his class, at least. The reason they won, or before the disqualification, is because he was fastest. Now, let's not be too mean to the Max fans. This is a tough time for them. Yeah. How much was he out by? How much did Lindblad beat him? I didn't actually see. Oh, by 2/10. It wasn't particularly close. Wow. Yeah, Lindblad was a 131.09. Verstappen was a 132.62. Must say, feel bad for Hulkenberg again being outqualified by his teammate and his teammate getting into Q3. Normally a very consistent Nico Hulkenberg is now struggling a lot. Okay, let's not argue too much in the chat, guys, please. I appreciate that everyone has some strong opinions about everyone on the grid, but there's no need to get angry at each other. Things happen. His car is garbage. He would be in Q3 otherwise. When is Q3? Soon. Q3 is very soon. Just seeing a replay here of the onboard Max Verstappen's lap. I mean, he's making a lot of corrections through the S's. Like, not massive, like, snaps of oversteer corrections. It's like it's almost understeering, which is weird for Verstappen. You don't usually get that. He likes aggressive oversteer. So I would have imagined that's what you get. Okay, let's stop arguing about Max Verstappen's performance. His car is rubbish. There was always the possibility of him going out in Q2. But being beaten by Arvid Lindblad was not something I was necessarily expecting. Okay, do I think Lewis has a chance to win? I saw the message. You do not have to say it more than once. I was getting to it. Do I think Lewis has a chance to win? Probably not. Annika Patricks would whoop all of these guys. You could dream. Just seeing, oh, he took a lot of curb through the middle of Spoon curve. That probably didn't help Max much at all. What happened to Max? His car was bad. And he got beaten by Arvid Lindblad. That's what happened. The other drivers in Q3, what excuses does anyone have that the car, it was very marginal, and Hadjar is a really strong qualifier. He's a very strong and very consistent qualifier. It doesn't say anything against Verstappen that he was not able to make it in. Yeah, I don't know what you're saying, but why is no one mentioning the fact that Max outqualified Hadjar? If you were listening at all, you would have heard when I said that was really impressive. You're seeing a replay of Lindblad getting rather excited about the fact that he has made his second Q3 of his career, which, considering he missed out on a lot of running in free practice too, basically all the running, that's very impressive by him. They still have Q3. Yeah, of course they still have Q3. And McLaren on pole. I don't know, honestly. I don't know who's on pole. I thought it'd be Antonelli, and by a decent margin. But the only reason Antonelli is way ahead of Leclerc and Piastri there, really, is because of the fact he went out and set his lap way later. Piastri's second lap he didn't improve on. So, trusting that he hasn't reached the limit of the car, I would imagine Piastri's still got a bit more in the bag. Norris needs to find the limit of the car because clearly that's the thing for Norris is as strong as his lap on paper may have been. He hasn't reached the limit of the car because someone has driven that car faster than him. The Astra, you can make an argument for him being at the limit of the car, so there's a possibility that he may not improve much more. So really, it's going to be a matter of who improves the most into Q3. I really hope that Norris or Hamilton take podiums. I wonder where you're from. Wouldn't be the British Isle by any chance. I'm kidding. You can be a fan of whoever you want. Q3, ladies and gentlemen, is underway as we see the drivers slowly wheeling their way out of the pit lane. We have, as long as I'm not forgetting anyone, we have a Racing Bulls, a Red Bull, an Audi, an Alpine, two McLarens, two Mercedes, and two Ferraris. Hang on, I just want to count. So that's Racing Bulls, Red Bull, Audi, Alpine, 1, 2. Think I won one of my predictions. I predicted 7 teams in Q3. So I think I just won a prediction. And for everyone else who did that too, congratulations. You've just won a very exciting prediction. The Mercedes cars are the first ones out there, being followed out by the Audi of Gabriel Bortoleto. Piastri for P1. I'd love to see Piastri in P1. Be the first time since Qatar 2025. So not actually that long ago, but it feels like forever ago. And yes, in case you're all curious, I'm still bereaved at the fact he did not win the Qatar Grand Prix. Oscar is insane around the Qatar circuit, and the only reason I want it to be on the calendar is because it's Oscar's strong suit. I need a better circuit for him to be good at. As Antonelli crosses the line to start the first timed lap of Q3. Coffee time? I don't know what you're on about. It's 5:49 p.m. I'm kidding. That's 5:49 p.m. where I am. So, not coffee time just yet. Dinner time, actually. I'm getting a bit hungry. Forgot to mention he's British. I think I remembered to mention that I thought he was British. As Antonelli's first sector 131.855. That's pretty good. But Russell goes faster at 135.853. Not shabby first sectors from either of them. Predictions as to the top three: Antonelli pole, George second, Oscar third. Those are my predictions. I'm willing to die on that hill. If I'm wrong, big whoop. If I'm right, I seem really, really smart. Okay, for the last time, Mercedes are in Q3. They're not sandbagging. That is stupid. That is actually just illogical. They would not be sandbagging. Looking at Antonelli there through the second sector, that's pretty good stuff. Up on his teammate by about 2/10 by the end of the second sector. 2:50 p.m. Saturday in Western Australia. Looking from Western Australia. Well, I've got some news for you. Antonelli just at a 28.778. That is insane pace. Russell at 29.0. Wow. Am I in Sydney? No, I'm in Hobart, Tasmania. Beautiful day down here. Gabriel Bortoleto towards the line. Unsurprisingly, doesn't challenge the Mercedes at 130.648. See Lando Norris's Lewis Hamilton's just gone purple sector 1. That's pretty good from him. Lando Norris, second sector, 4/10 down. Oscar Piastri through the second sector. How's he looking? Hopefully, he'll want to be a little bit closer. Only 2/10 down. That's good to see. Gasly has jumped Bortoleto to P3 and Lindblad's gone to P5. Lando Norris towards the line now. Goes third fastest, 6/10 off the Mercedes. Oscar Piastri now towards the line. Hamilton 4/10 off by the end of the second sector. Oscar Piastri goes third fastest, 0.354 seconds off as Lindblad's time gets deleted for track limits. Lewis Hamilton across the line to end his first lap. How's it looking for Lewis? Only good enough for P5 behind the McLarens, 8/10 off. Charles Leclerc now across the line. He jumps up to 5th, 6/10 off. Closer Lando, but still a comfortable gap to Piastri. So far, my predictions looking pretty strong. I swear I haven't read the script for what's meant to happen this weekend. Isaac Hadjar will be next across the line. Hadjar comes towards the line, goes up to 7th, 1.2 seconds off the pace, jumps Gasly and Bortoleto. So that is our first runs done and dusted, ladies and gentlemen. Andrea Kimi Antonelli on provisional pole position, George Russell second, Oscar Piastri third, Lando Norris fourth, Charles Leclerc fifth, Lewis Hamilton sixth, Isaac Hadjar seventh, Pierre Gasly eighth, Gabriel Bortoleto ninth, and Arvid Lindblad 10th. So far, Oscar Piastri really the only one who can wave a stick at either of the Mercedes. Basically, he's just lost a 10th to Antonelli through every sector. Which, I mean, that's not terrible. That's not terrible. But yeah. Piastri wasn't far off Russell. What? So Russell's let me get the exact times rather than just the gaps. Russell did a 129.076. Piastri did a 129.132. That's give or take, I'd say. That's nothing to be ashamed about in terms of lap times. Of course, Lindblad will be hoping to improve a bit. Not only was his lap time way off, but it was illegal. Did I just dox my location? I don't care if you know where I live. Like, none of you know my address. So as long as that stays that way, I'm not particularly concerned. I'm from the future. Lewis Hamilton is on pole. I'm fairly certain I've seen you glaze Lewis over the past 5 messages you've sent. I think Antonelli's on pole. And I think that's a little bit more reasonable to predict. Hadjar Antonelli being faster than Verstappen. And Antonelli being faster. Oh, I misread your message. Hadjar and Antonelli being faster than Verstappen and Russell was not on my bingo card. Was it on mine? Let me go double check. No, it wasn't. I thought Hadjar honestly was going to be out in Q2, but I was wrong. It was the other Red Bull. My future, my ability to tell the future is a bit weak right now. Antonelli is 0.16 seconds faster than Russell through the slow speeds. That's really concerning. They're going to want to try to fix that one up. Yeah. I predicted that Antonelli would be faster than Russell this weekend, but I did not quite predict that Hadjar would outqualify Verstappen. That one's definitely come out of left field. Now, I'd also like to point out we have had the battery deployment changes for this qualifying session. So, if any qualifying session is going to indicate driver skill, it's going to be this one. And I mean, you can look at the results for yourself. I'm kidding. I'm not trying to imply that Hadjar's better than Verstappen. I think he's the closest to Verstappen of any of the teammates. Any of his teammates that he's ever had, other than maybe Carlos and Ricardo. But we'll wait and see. Which car was Verstappen in? The Red Bull, the one he's been in since Spain 2016. He doesn't often change. Shades of 2014 Red Bull. Yeah, I'm seeing that, except for the fact it's like shades of 2014 Red Bull with the pace of 2015 Red Bull, which is not what you want. So at least the 2014 Red Bull was fast enough to win races. But yes, we have 4 minutes left until qualifying gets underway. We'll see who's headed out first to get their final runs underway. This will be pretty big. We're seeing here the Mercedes. Interesting, Piastri has come out after the Mercedes. That's big for him. That will give him a track advantage at least. And they've sent him out after Norris as well. McLaren really betting everything on hoping Oscar could try to sneak what would genuinely be a miracle pole. As much as Oscar is a very talented driver, the gap is pretty big between what Oscar will likely be able to achieve and what I think Antonelli will achieve with the on pole position. Now then, ladies and gentlemen, what is often the best part of a weekend? The final runs in Q3. It's one of my favorite parts of the weekend. It's pretty consistently entertaining. Who knows what we'll see down the order. A lot of drivers who are currently in Q3, I didn't even think would be in. I didn't think any of them would be in Q3. Of course, I kind of predicted some of them. I thought the Mercedes, the McLarens, and the Ferraris. Who else did I predict? I don't even remember. I bought the Leto. I did, and that's it. So Hadjar, Gasly, Bortoleto, and Hadjar, Gasly, and Lindblad are kind of shocked to be here. Thought they might be replaced by some other drivers. So really, I have no idea. Just looking out on track, as which Mercedes is first across the line? Antonelli. I think it's a Ferrari will be the last one to set their final runs. Let's see what Antonelli can do. Can he seal a second pole position in a row? So it'll be Antonelli across the line, then Russell, then Norris, and fairly certain Piastri next. Yep. Then the Ferraris will be behind them. Antonelli through the first sector, improved marginally. Not anything crazy, but it is an improvement nonetheless. We'll see what George Russell can do. He's improved by more. He's up on Antonelli, and he's more up on Antonelli's previous time than Antonelli currently is. Lando Norris's first sector. What's that going to look like? Really bad. 3/10 off and not even a personal best. Come on, Lando. Get your act together. Oscar's about to outqualify you by a lot at this rate. Antonelli is sweeping his way. It's looking pretty neat. He'll be approaching the second sector timing. Black and white flag for Hamilton driving slowly on pit exit road. That's not good for him. Antonelli, he's down on his time now. Yellow middle sector. Could that give George Russell just what he needs to beat him? No, he's lost out even more. Russell's now not even improving on his own time. What is Oscar Piastri doing? Why aren't they showing me his times? God damn it. Antonelli towards the line. Purple last sector, but he does not improve. Norris still not improving in the second sector. He's down on his own time. Oscar Piastri went green through the first sector. George Russell doesn't improve. Antonelli's on provisional pole. Piastri's 3/10 off by the end of the second sector. He's going to have to do something crazy in this final sector. Can Oscar Piastri do it? You best believe Lando couldn't. He stays fourth. Oscar Piastri towards the line now. The only one to challenge the Mercedes so far. He doesn't quite do it. He doesn't even improve in his own time. Charles Leclerc is purple through the first sector, ladies and gentlemen. Can Charles Leclerc bring it to the Mercedes? The time has reached 0 on the clock. Lewis Hamilton will come across the line now. What can Lewis Hamilton do? He hasn't improved in either sector. I don't think he'll be able to do enough. Lewis Hamilton towards the line. He's improved through the final sector, but it's not enough. Lewis Hamilton stays 6th. What about Charles Leclerc, the only hope of not having a Mercedes front row? Bortoleto jumps up to 8th in front of Pierre Gasly. Charles Leclerc absolutely flying. What's this middle sector going to look like? Is it enough? No, he's 3/10 down. That probably won't be enough. Hadjar's now crossed the line, stays 7th. Lindblad stays 10th. What about Gasly? I haven't seen what Gasly's up to. Charles Leclerc. Gasly jumps up to 7th. He jumps Hadjar and Bortoleto. Charles Leclerc towards the line, currently P5. What can he do? He jumps Norris. He's P4. Ladies and gentlemen, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, 2 pole positions in a row. Antonelli, P1. George Russell, P2, 3/10 off. Oscar Piastri, P3. Charles, P4 to finish out the second row. Norris, P5. Hamilton P6, Gasly P7, Hadjar P8, Bortoleto P9, and Lindblad P10. Now would be a great time to mention that I've been saying the entire time that the top 3 was going to be... Hang on a second. I predicted the top 6. My predictions were Antonelli, Russell, Piastri, Leclerc, Norris, Hamilton. I just predicted the top 6. I'm just too good. I'm just too good at predicting things. So over the radio. Annoyed that he couldn't improve on the last lap, but still a very strong qualifying nonetheless, as his teammate wasn't able to improve either. But Oscar Piastri, P3, that's a mega job, really. I think he should be very happy with what he's done. Yeah, Gasly, again, insane in qualifying. At this rate, he's going to be P5 in the championship. Considering that the current P5, Mr. Behrman, will be starting P18 for tomorrow's race. Now, Lewis Hamilton, I did see, was given a black and white flag for driving too slowly on pit exit. So we'll see what comes of that. Yeah. Wow. Solid session. Solid session. I've enjoyed myself. We had surprises. We had... I mean, currently the qualifying head-to-head between Antonelli and Russell is 2-1 in favor of Antonelli. Hadjar's head-to-head is 2-1 in favor of him. Piastri's head-to-head is 3-0 in favor of him. And the Ferrari one is... I don't remember the results from qualifying from the Chinese Grand Prix. Because, of course, Leclerc qualified Hamilton in Australia. I watched it happen. I do not remember the results from qualifying in China. I'm terrible at my job. I claim to be a stats man, but I don't even know what I'm doing. I know Hamilton unqualified, so it's 2-1 in favor of Leclerc. So far, if you are the younger driver of any of the front runners, I mean, hell, Audi Bortoleto is now leading. I just seeing a replay of Leclerc through Spoon. Oh no, don't tell me he had a snap. Oh no, he had a massive old slide. Oh, that's terrible luck for him. He probably could have done a lot better than he did if that hadn't happened. Yikes. And Piastri won't start. Shut up. Piastri's starting the Grand Prix. I don't usually pull out my big... Oh my goodness, Antonelli nearly spun out and was nearly spun out and was facing backwards through through the Casio Triangle. That would have been terrible. Well then, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you have enjoyed qualifying. I sure know I have. And Tonelli is starting on pole position for the second time this season and is declaring his championship charge. Not so unfamiliar to a certain happenings of last season. Well, I'm glad you've all enjoyed. I will be wrapping up for now, but I will see you all tomorrow for what I'm sure will be a brilliant Grand Prix. Stay safe. Don't ask each other where you live. I can see you doing it. That's weird. I will see you all tomorrow. Ciao.